Weens and a screen.
And also an egg.
And also an egg.
I'm the egg.
You ever just get your hot dogs, you boil them, and then you just crack an egg on top of it?
Oh my! I thought it was gonna be you like inject the egg into the hot dog
And don't cook it.
You don't cook it.
It's just the yolk.
Yeah, just eat a raw hot dog with a raw egg, and you're in for a good time.
and instead of the bun, you just use a bunch of eggshells.
Oh, you guys,
Yum, yum.
want to hear a gross, funny story that happened to me yesterday?
Yeah.
Sure, Thomas Griffin.
It was around...
We probably shouldn't have that in there.
It's not the first time my first and last name have been said on this.
Thomas Griffin is also an extremely common name.
Yeah, I think it's like the 30th most common name in the United States.
And my name is London Hetty. I'm the only person in the U.S. named London Hetty. Come and get me, motherfuckers.
My name is just Egg.
This is Joe Boyle.
Yep, there I am.
That's a pretty common name.
That's pretty common.
The title of your series is The Boyle Agenda,
Yeah.
so...
Shit, that's right. Yeah, so there goes that. All relation to Danny Boyle, actually, star director of his,
28 Days Later?
Yeah, no, actually, I was thinking of his more famous work, Yesterday.
Oh!
It's about the Beatles. I don't know if you know what the Beatles are.
He directed that?
That was terrible. I was so disappointed.
Oh, you saw it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we saw it together. It was, I kind of got exactly what I wanted with it, but man, it was bad.
I bet you guys were thinking just the entire movie. You're like, man, I wish I could go back to yesterday, back before I watched this fucking movie.
Hey, yo!
Oh.
I mean, it wasn't as bad as, like, a lot of movies I watched, so...
Yeah.
But even that day, I had seen the third Annabelle film, so...
Oh, it was that day.
Yeah, I saw that, and that was just a day full of bad movies. No, because I saw Toy Story and Spider-Man that day, and I enjoyed both of those. But then the rest were bad. The other 3 movies I watched.
So I realized we derailed you. What's your gross story?
Hold on. This is Joe. He's joining us today.
I'm the egg.
Go ahead, Thomas, with your story.
So 2 p.m. yesterday. I'm up probably a good 2 hours after I should be because I got the Nintendo Switch and it's kind of kept me up.
Whoa.
And I was feeling a little bit hungry. I got a rumbly in my tumbly, so I went to my fridge. I'm looking for some food. My house is fucking got no fucking food in it. Like it's...
You see a rat on the ground, and you go,
No, but I find a package of pepper jack cheese, and it's got a single slice left, and I'm like, score! Pepper jack cheese.
One slice,
and
that's enough for me.
I even like look at it first because I'm super cautious like that, and I'm like,
but all the spots on it, you just think, yeah, pepper jack cheese has spots on it.
Yep. And I tossed that shit in my mouth, and I noticed I was chewing on what tasted like mildew, and I immediately spit it out.
That is extra flavor. That's what they call it.
So, what's your superpower now?
I have the ability to spit pepper jack cheese.
I have the ability to taste when a piece of cheese has mold on it.
So you mean to tell me that through this traumatic ordeal, you did not gain superpowers?
Well, the moldy pepper jack cheese gave me the cheese touch, which molded into my DNA.
Okay.
So
you became Mold Man.
Wait, so like the cheese touch like King Midas, so you touch something and it turns to cheese? Or you touch something and it feels like cheese? No matter what you touch, the texture is to you cheese.
I can spit cheese. That's all I can do.
Okay.
I can spit little
Why
cubes,
is it called the cheese
slices?
touch?
Because
instead of the cheese spit.
Well, if I had
or
just...
cheese mouth.
I don't know. It's a Diary of a Wimpy Kid reference. I wasn't thinking too deep into it, you know? And that
you
there...
remind me of that guy.
Who? The
Wimpy Kid.
Okay, I'm glad you said
instead
fucking
of
Rowdy or whatever his name is. The
who's
Mama guy.
Who's the scary guy? Who's like,
I don't
who has
know.
is that the one with the cheese touch?
The first one's the one with the cheese touch. I don't know if it got brought back later.
He was a gross one.
Fantastic. I'm
Wait,
sweet.
I know.
Sweaty the dog.
I know what you remind me of. You remind me of the physical book.
Have you seen Toy
Diary
Story
of a
2?
Wimpy Kid.
Good. Have I seen Toy Story 2? Yes.
You're like Stinky Pete.
Please don't say that.
Like 40 years from now, you're gonna look exactly like Stinky Pete,
And we're gonna find you just in...
you're going to be a prospector.
And you're gonna be just living in this box.
I'm gonna be
tied
like,
to it.
hey, if you guys want to roll in Toy Story 3, and then they're gonna cut that scene from the film years later. Because Disney likes to do that instead.
I don't know, that's a pretty rough scene there.
Yeah,
I understand that.
Personally, I have this stance. I like what the old like Looney Tunes cartoons do.
being like, hey, this was shitty.
Yeah, basically where they have like a disclaimer where like everything in here doesn't match like the current political climate. Things done wrong were wrong then, wrong now. But you know, better to acknowledge it and like look at it as opposed to just try to be like, no, we didn't do that. What the fuck? No, that doesn't exist. We didn't do that.
Yeah, no, when I saw that breakout, I followed up reading whatever I was reading about that with the clip, and I'm just like, yeah, just a little like, ugh, you know, like, that's a crazy scene to have in 2019, especially after the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
I thought you said Mewtwo.
Yeah, so after Mewtwo invaded Hollywood and started killing directors, things got crazy.
He's like, I want Detective Pikachu, and I'm gonna be the main... He's the main antagonist of that, isn't he? I didn't watch it.
You didn't miss much.
That was so bad. I think that's currently like my 6th worst film from 2019.
Oh, gee.
What's the third worst film? I don't want to know the last one. I didn't want to know the third one.
Let me check.
He's pulling out a list.
I'm pulling out my list.
I have not seen that many movies from this year.
I want to say it might be The Hustle.
Okay.
That was a bad one. That was a real stinkeroo.
I feel like most of the movies I've gone in to see this year, I've been like reasonably excited for, so I've always enjoyed them. So yesterday's like one of the worst movies I've
it's
seen
The
this year.
Hustle with Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway.
Oh.
No, Detective Pikachu is the 4th worst.
Okay.
Crisp 2 out of 10 right there.
I'd probably say... Because I'm not like London and Joe. I don't go to the theater to watch bad movies usually.
Neither does Joe.
Joe will
doesn't
go.
if I'm going.
Yeah, he'll go if you're going, good or bad. Typically, what I'll do is I'll gauge. I'll be like, do I want to see this? Probably not.
So like, I never like walk in.
Also, I haven't really been doing it anymore because I don't work in a theater.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, even when I worked at the theater, I didn't do it.
I mean, a lot of the times, like, I never, like, I'm searching out for a bad movie. Like, with Yesterday, I'm like, this premise is so dumb and crazy, I want a dumb and crazy movie. I didn't care how good or bad it was. I just kind of wanted to see it because it was stupid in concept. And it was stupid in concept and terrible in execution, was the thing. And with Detective Pikachu, I've always been a big Pokemon fan. I wanted to see this movie and just see what they were trying to do with it. And it kind of just shit the bed.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and I did see that from the second they announced the fucking film. I was like, oof, this is not the one.
So when the announcement happened, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then the first trailer came out. My immediate thought is like, okay, this is going to be incredible, or this is going to be terrible. And it ended up being terrible.
Yeah.
In terms of just, like, movie thing. I think in terms of, like, the actual production pieces, like, I think a lot of the work they did in the Pokemon was passable for a first attempt, and good in some areas. I think if they try to continue this trend, it can probably get better, and there might be a good movie spawned from this.
Should have been called Detective Bidoof. It should have been about Bidoof, and he shouldn't have talked.
There wasn't a single Bidoof in the movie, I think.
I think there was. I don't know.
You know what I would love to see? A movie
about Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Live action.
Psyduck.
Psyduck, yeah.
Psyduck was
one
of the
the main Pokemon in the movie.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd want it to just be 90 minutes of Psyduck just holding his head in pure agony.
There's probably about 15 or so minutes of the film that's like that.
Oh,
Those
good.
are probably the good minutes.
But in that 90-minute Psyduck expose, the only audio that's playing is just, you know how Psyduck goes, Psy-yi-yi?
Just him pissing.
It's just him going, Psy-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi for 90 minutes, and at the very end, after credits roll, post-credits scene, he says, Duck. Finally.
I love it. I love it.
Don't clap.
Just
Look at those.
just fix it in post.
Fuck you. London, here's more work for you to do. Work, monkey, work.
I mean, dance, my puppet. You realize I'm also capable of like taking some of these
You know,
and
fuck
editing
you.
them.
I want people to think that you, like, just whip me.
I mean, okay. Yeah, he edits the episodes, but that nice, pretty little animation.
You drew the little animation? You're going to have to draw Joe in for this episode. Look, guys, you can see Joe. He's doing a funny little dance.
Look at me.
probably, or-
I think I'm vaping.
he is
vaping.
Yeah, he's vaping.
He's an egg and he's vaping. Are you gonna can you draw just him as Humpty Dumpty but vaping?
I mean,
I
already have it all drawn. I just need to animate it.
Oh.
It's
Do you
him.
have his dick out?
I do not have his dick out. I don't think YouTube would like that very much.
So for the Pornhub release, can we put it with my dick out?
I didn't.
Mine,
I did not release the first episode on Pornhub.
What's
What the
wrong with you?
Fuck London.
I feel like I could run into some weird areas later on if it's like, yeah, you uploaded your podcast to I'm just like, no, I'm okay.
Why would that matter? You just kind of own it and be like, yeah, I want to reach an audience.
Nope, too scary. Trying to save the bees. Fuck the bees. Just kidding, I like bees. Anyway, Thomas J. Griffin, if you want to know more things about him. What's your middle name? You want to reveal it?
I think revealing my full middle name might just be
Do you want
a
to read
little
out
bit
your,
too.
Do you want to read out your social security number?
What's your mother's maiden name?
What is the name of your childhood best friend?
Or first
Who
pet?
was your first teacher? What street did you grow up on?
What was the first album I bought? What was the first? I don't know.
My middle name is Matthew and then also Jones. Thanks for asking. If anyone wants my social security number, it's 317-493-0012.
My social security.
It's
number
not. I'm lying.
Is 7262313.
This is actually yours.
No, I just looked at dates on the posters back behind your
I'm like,
head.
wow, you're missing
Twice.
4 numbers or 3 numbers.
My social security is 420-6969-123.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful.
All right, now that we've gotten nice and intimate,
Thomas, you seen any other movies this week besides the 2 that we're going to be talking about? Shout out anything?
I started watching Crisis yesterday, but I didn't get very far into it. I've already seen Crisis before, but I got that big.
What the fuck is Crisis?
It's Ingmar Bergman's first movie.
Oh yeah, you told me.
Yeah, I got that giant Criterion collector's set for Ingmar Bergman's movies, and I was gonna slowly start like burning through them in like chronological order that they were released, but I did not get very far on that yesterday because it was like noon.
Time to go to sleep.
And I was like, I'm gonna go to bed, and then I played Mario Maker for like 2 hours after
like,
that.
I'm gonna draw funny pee-pee.
I have not made any levels on Mario Maker yet, but I did go to one of Ryan McGee's levels from Super Mega, and I drew a nice picture of Peter Griffin.
Did you know they're very bad at that game?
Yes, which is okay.
Super Mega, you're bad.
I mean, I can't say much because I am also pretty bad at Mario. I'm like Matt Watson. I'm bad at video games, kind of period dot. So.
Yeah, I've seen you play a video game before.
Yeah.
what's a video game?
I'm more of a movie guy. That's why I run a movie why I co-run a movie podcast.
Like, what the fuck? If one of us is the leader here, it's probably me. I'm taller.
But I'm the shadow investor. I'm the one pulling the strings from behind the scenes.
I'm the DDoSer.
Okay, so anything else?
No.
Okay. I'm a movie guy. I only watched 2 movies this week. What the fuck?
I mean,
my
there's
bad. I'm working a 40-hour job for the first time in my life, and I'm still adjusting.
I
So.
feel you. What about you, Joe? You see any movies this week besides the 2?
Besides the 2, there were the movies that we watched for Movie Club, but I myself have also been busy.
Nice.
Of the movies we watched for Movie Club, Scott Pilgrim was the most I was interested in, and I kind of felt let down with it. Just for a while I'd been wanting to watch it. It was actually the last Edgar Wright movie I needed to watch of his filmography. I don't know.
Why you haven't seen A Fistful of Fingers?
That is... I guess I haven't seen all of his movies then.
Have you seen Space?
I guess I haven't seen all
It's
of
not
I
a
guess
movie.
all of his, like...
That's a TV series, but Edgar Wright and like Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, that's where they all like kind of like stemmed from.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I liked it. It has all the Edgar Wright elements that I always like whenever I watch any of his work. But, like, I had issues with, like, I don't know, just a lot of the aesthetics and visual things just didn't feel like it works well in, like, a live-action space. They were well done and well used. It just, there was this weird disconnect for me. Where it's like, this would work so well if the movie was, like, animated or something else. But, like, live action and all these things happening around just look so incredibly jarring and fake to me. Which, fake is obvious because a lot of these things were hyped up for just in-the-moment things to sell moments better.
I don't know if I like necessarily like 100% agree with you because I think that's part of like the film's attraction. Of course, it's your opinion that you're stating.
That's the thing I was wrestling with is like, yeah, no, it's totally part of this identity. Like all of these things were intentional. They didn't jive 100% with me.
But something that me and Lucero were talking about before we had watched the movie here, because we both agreed that there should be an animated series, and they did. They did these like little animated like prequel bits where they
one like 4-minute one, I think, right?
I think there was like one or two, but they have like the movie cast like voicing the characters, and it's in like the like style of the comics. And I think like if like Netflix were to like somehow acquire the rights to it and like were to try to do like a little 1-season animated series, it would work really well and probably better than the movie just simply because it has more time to flesh out the story.
Yeah. And apart from Scott Pilgrim, we also watched Suspiria, the 2018 version. Finally saw it in full. I didn't fall asleep during the last half hour like the first time we all watched it together. I still kicked myself at that moment because, man, a lot of the things make so much sense in context now.
So I'm just like...
Curious.
I think it's a pretty, like, it has a slow pace for some of it, and I'm like, how do you fall asleep in the last half?
I also just fall asleep randomly during movies. Like a lot of just, like, my tiredness just catches up to me, and my body's like, hey, bro, you need sleep right now.
Question for both of you. Even though they're both, like, pretty wildly different films, which one do you prefer, the original or the remake?
I'll take the gun to my head instead of choosing between those two. I like them both for vastly different reasons, and I mean, I gave both of them 10s on Letterboxd. Like, the only thing that ties those two movies together is that it is set in the original they're part of the Mother trilogy if they decide to remake Inferno and Mother of Tears. I would be hopeful for a Mother of Tears remake. I don't know if they would be able to top Inferno, but I didn't think that they would be able to top the original Suspiria, and it pretty much met all my expectations and surpassed them in a couple of areas.
I remember when this one released, the remake of Suspiria, I was reading some stuff on a sequel. I don't think a sequel is going to happen. I don't know how well it did financially.
Yeah.
A pretty small release,
but
I think it did well critically enough that, like, A24 might just be like, we'll do it.
God, if A24 did Inferno, holy shit.
Did A24 distribute this Suspiria?
Maybe not.
I thought it was Amazon.
It was Amazon.
Oh, it was.
But
even that, like, Amazon's been spending money for, like, more, like, critically stuff.
I think it'd be a smart choice in the long run if they want to make a, like, sequel to it.
That's why they were pretty happy with, like, Beautiful Boy.
Yeah.
What a good movie.
But I think I remember reading, don't anyone quote me on this without, like, looking for, like, the article yourself. Because I don't remember. It's been a few months. But I think I remember reading from the director.
Luca. That he had a script or something, right? Or he had...
I don't know if he had a script, but he said that, like, if he was to do a sequel, it wouldn't necessarily be, like, a remake of Inferno, but more just kind of his own sequel to what he established in this film.
Same article.
Which,
I mean, I'd be down for that.
yeah, like, either way, I'm excited.
Like, even still, like, Inferno and Suspiria are so standalone that unless you, like, had the prior knowledge of that those movies were contained in the same universe, you could view them very much as different things. Mother of Tears is definitely built upon those two movies, but it's still also pretty standalone.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the new
I
Suspiria
never finished Mother of Tears.
blew me away. God, the climax of the movie at the end was... whoa. Again, I don't know how I fell asleep during that, but I somehow did the first time I watched it. I'm glad I got the chance to rewatch it. And then Drive, which I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah, Drive's pretty good.
Had a crazy-ass soundtrack, which fit the theme of the movie week. I really enjoyed it. I do enjoy heist stories, especially ones where they get taken off the rails. Yeah.
I think, based off what I've seen of him, I think Drive's an extremely, like, simple movie. I don't think it's, like, a cinematic masterpiece or anything, but I enjoy it, but I think it's kind of Nicholas Refn's version of, like, lightning in a bottle, because everything else I've seen from him has been kind of bad.
Have you seen Bronson?
I have not seen Bronson.
I've been meaning to watch that. Anyway, I'm going to go back, because I never got to answer Thomas's question about Suspiria.
And I never got to give my own answer,
Joe.
so...
I mostly agree with Joe. I think that they're different enough movies that it's really hard to say which is better. However, I've seen both multiple times now, and it's like I can say that I like the soundtrack in the new one more than the original Goblin soundtrack, which is very hard to say because I think the original soundtrack's incredible. But I'm just like, this one's a teeny bit more incredible. And it's like the original Suspiria does so much with, like, colored lighting. It's beautiful, and I've talked at length on, like, my Letterboxd and reviews about colors and stuff, and I love talking about the colors of that movie. But the shots in the new one are also really good.
They still do, like...
And
it's a lot of muted colors.
Yeah, it's a lot of muted
got
colors. Like, it's
colors going
it's
on.
A lot of the film has a more subtle approach with its shots.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's a bad thing. And I'm leaning towards liking the new one a little more. But I think that also might be because I watched it 6 days ago.
Fair.
My opinion is...
I think whichever one I watch is more recently is my favorite.
I like the original Suspiria just fine. I think it's a pretty good movie. I'd probably, like, give it, like, if I had to, like, put it on a scale, like, 7 out of 10.
Did you like Inferno more than it?
I don't know.
The water scene?
Oh, God.
I do. That's, like, the first scene I always think of when I think of that movie.
So good.
So I think of that scene, and I think of the credit song. Suspiria.
Yeah.
Oh, I get that song stuck in my head so often.
But I'd have to rewatch both of them before I honestly decided. Probably Suspiria, just simply because that one's a little bit more just familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the remake is way better in my opinion. Like, what did I give it? Like a 9?
9.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I thought it was gonna be you were gonna jump it. I thought you were gonna do it.
Oh, I give it a 10?
Yeah.
No.
I know you've only given a couple, but I was so happy when one of the movies I recommended that we watched, like,
Memories of Murder. Because Memories of Murder is a straight fucking 10. That movie is awesome.
It is really fucking good.
Fucking, I just got my Korean Blu-ray for that. So
Nice.
Woo! I think
Now you're a true Korea boo.
so. I think this week, aside from like the 2 films that we'll end up picking, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do a nice little double feature of Memories of Murder and Mother, since I have the Blu-ray for both of those now.
Nice.
Because I still haven't seen Mother. The
Bong Joon-ho one.
yes,
Right, okay.
because there's like so many different movies called Mother.
Usually when people think about that, it's either that one or the
Darren Aronofsky one that
which
just
I
came
haven't
out a
seen
couple
that
years
one.
ago.
I've
like
heard-
that one. I don't.
I've heard really good things from like most people that like Aronofsky.
I like Aronofsky, so
I can't
I
say
like
I've seen
Pi.
one of his movies.
Have you seen Pi?
Pie,
Not
Black
like
Swan,
Pi.
The Wrestler,
Pi is the only one I've seen.
Requiem for a Dream.
But
Yeah,
I've been meaning to watch The Wrestler specifically. I want
I
that
have
to
not
be my
seen
next
Wrestler.
watch of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
London, what have you watched this week?
Ooh. Let's talk about some of the big ones I watched. I've been going through the Oscar Best Picture winners because I've only seen, before I started this little endeavor, I'd only seen like 12 of them. And now I've seen like 17. But this week I watched Spotlight, which is one that came out in 2015.
I remember seeing like the post, because isn't the poster like just like a spotlight with spotlight like across it, or am I thinking of something
Maybe?
I think I might be thinking of like Whiplash's logo actually, and it's a drum, not a spotlight.
Maybe. But it,
Whoops.
like, I don't hear anything about it ever. Like,
Despite it
anyone.
winning a Best Picture award.
But it was really amazing. Like, one of the best I've
What
seen.
year is it from?
2015.
2015. I'll have to
It
check
had
it out.
Michael Keaton,
Ooh.
Mark Ruffalo,
Ooh.
Rachel McAdams is in it, Liev Schreiber is in it. Like, there's the cast is crazy, and it's really good. It's about these people that work at the Boston Globe newspaper in 2001. It's a true story, and they are trying to uncover this conspiracy by the church that keeps like pedophilic priests like hidden away.
Okay.
Like, they discover that they're just being moved around. Like, whenever there's a scandal, they just get moved to another church.
Okay.
And it's really good.
See, I thought you were going to say, uncover the fact that the church actually did 9/11.
Woo! 9/11's a plot point in the movie, because it's in 2001.
Yeah, that would make sense. Especially for
I
a
wish-
story centered around people working in the news industry.
This is not the last time 9/11 will be brought up this podcast.
Nice. I also, because of the next movie I watched, Gladiator by Ridley Scott.
Oh.
That won a Best Picture. I enjoyed the film, but I don't know why it won a Best Picture. Like, I gave it like a 6. Like, I enjoyed it. It was good. But there's a lot of messy camera work. Like, it's like, this fight scene would be cool if you zoomed out literally like 7 inches. I'm like, you're too close, my man.
You gotta see all that.
And it was a
sweaty
little.
action
I
up
did
close.
watch the extended cut, which was 2 hours and 50 minutes, and I thought it was a little long.
What's the theatrical cut?
2 hours and 30 minutes, but even then, I think that there was a little more than just that 20 minutes that could be cut.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the performances were pretty good. Like Joaquin Phoenix and Russell Crowe. Like, they had some really good scenes, and then there were some scenes that were kind of like, but it seemed like mostly direction at that point, not acting ability.
Okay.
And then I just finished it 2 hours ago. I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I haven't seen that.
yes.
Fuck, dude. That was the first, that was the film debut for Danny DeVito and Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Brad Dourif's in it as well.
Yeah. That was the first, he was in also.
Huh.
He looks sexy in that movie.
Yeah, no, he's a lot younger than he is when he's in like Child's Play.
Yeah.
by like a whole.
So, geez, great fucking movie.
So I always see it talked about, but I've never like remembered it long enough to look up like what it's actually about. So what is it about?
It's
Jack Nicholson gets sent to he's been in and out of prison like his whole life.
Okay.
He gets sent to a mental institution.
Yeah, he basically pretends to be crazy to avoid prison time, thinking, "Oh, it's easy. I'll
Well,
serve my."
specifically to avoid working. Like he's out of work farm prison, and he's just like, I'm crazy.
Yeah, and then basically he eventually comes to the realization that he'll be in there indefinitely if he doesn't start like kind of acting up. And the movie kind of focuses on that. It's one of those movies that's better to go into like blind if you don't know anything about it.
Okay, I never heard like the overall plot of it.
But
yeah, it's
like,
great, fantastic,
and there's some fucking amazing.
The book's great too.
Supporting cast, they have some great. Danny DeVito specifically is Mr. Martini or whatever is fucking great. I'm like, holy shit. And I didn't recognize him. I've never seen him when he's like 30 years old.
Oh, really?
Who the fuck is that? And I'm like, wait a minute. Is that Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd, I could tell who it was, but I'm like, oh my god, he's so young and his ears are so giant. Looks like an elephant.
Why do you think he was in the new Dumbo?
Was. Yeah, he played the elephant. And then, yeah, that was pretty much all. Oh, I watched a documentary last night called Big Bucks.
Okay.
It was just a TV documentary that
Bucks
was made in
as in
2003.
like bucks?
Yeah,
or-
money.
Okay.
Have you guys ever heard of Michael Larson, I think his name was?
Can't say I have.
He was a game show contestant on Press Your Luck. I've heard this story countless times before, but I wanted to watch a documentary on it. Are you too familiar with Press Your Luck at all? That's the one that's like, no whammies, stop, if you've ever heard that.
I mean, I know the catchphrase, but I can't say
So what
it's
it
in the
is
show.
there's a lighted board with a ton of prizes around it. And seemingly at random, the light will go around and you'll press on it. And you'll either get a prize or you'll get a whammy, which is like a little cartoon guy, and he'll take away all your money.
Okay.
And Michael Larson figured out that it wasn't actually random, and there was a sequence that it would always go in. And the prizes would change each frame on the different pieces. So the light would change, it would change positions, and it would change the prize every second. But he found out that there were two places that never had a whammy, so he would always aim for that. And this game that I think they said that like the highest amount of money somebody had won was like 30,000. He just won 100,000.
What did they do? Try to cheat him out of the money?
They tried to knock him the money.
Wow.
Like, what could we do? But he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah,
He played the game.
He got the
he
money.
found the loophole that they had set in their own fucking system, and he took advantage of it.
But even the documentary, which was, I'm pretty sure, like, made by somebody connected to the studio, it just kind of paints him as, like, a villain.
That's
like, it was a really interesting story, but the documentary wasn't very good because of that. But it was also really funny because of that, because they're like, oh, he took our money. And I'm like, okay.
Ooh.
And then they're like, and now let's talk about how he was a bad person. I'm like, shut the fuck up, he died.
Oh, wow.
It was just kind of, I'm like, well, fuck you.
He's a bad man because he figured out how dumb we were.
But, like, some of it was cool. Like, they had the host at the time, the host of Press Your Luck. Like, he came back for the documentary, and he, like, hosted the documentary. Like, that was cool.
How long ago
And
was the show, and how recent is the documentary?
The documentary's from 2003. The famous game that he won was in 1984.
Okay.
So it was about 20 years. He had died in 99.
Oh.
But it's a great story. At the very least, you should look it up and read about it. It's very cool.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
And then, of course, the next day they like changed the format because he had to memorize 5 sequences, because there were like 5 different sequences of a bunch of different randomizations that he had to memorize. And then like the very next day they worked on it and they made it up to like 32 or something. And then the show went off air a couple of years later, and then it came back in like 2000. And I think it's still running. I think it's just called Whammy or something like that.
I don't know. I don't watch a lot of game shows.
I I had GSN. I didn't have a lot of channels growing up, but I had the Game Show Network, so I watched a lot of it. And then it was just computerized by that time.
You can just do true random at that point.
Yeah.
Or very easy algorithmic sequences.
All right. Well,
yeah. So.
Seeing as we're about 35-ish minutes into this recording, you guys want to start talking about the first movie?
What?
Oh, God.
Thomas.
Okay.
And no, I do have some other. I think this will probably just be a longer episode, if that's okay, because I do have a couple other things I want to talk about.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't go past 11 a.m., that should be fine.
Oh, fuck that, dude! I want to be in bed at 10:30. So.
Oh, okay.
But instead of an hour and a half, we might be hour 45 or 2.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Okay. So I guess that little signal was for me to give my movie plot.
Yeah,
so.
you didn't think of one this week.
Okay. My movie plot is about a guy who eats a moldy piece of cheese, and he develops the ability to spit cheese. Bam! And his arch enemy is, I don't know, a cheese grater.
A cheese grater?
It's a guy with a cheese grater.
So the superhero, right? What's his name?
His name is the Cheese Guy.
The Cheese Guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Thomas, for your great idea.
You're welcome.
My idea comes from the film Beyond Paradise.
Oh, okay.
Which is a film about going to high school in a specific island of Hawaii. And this could work as a sequel or a standalone, but I think it would be... It's about these people that it's their 25th high school reunion. They come back and they've all left the island, and it's hard to just keep in contact with people when you're not living in the same area. So it's about these people that have fallen out of touch, and they get back together though for this high school reunion, but one of their members is missing, and they try to figure out what happened to him. It turns out, like a lot of small towns, he got addicted to meth. So it's about a movie. It's about a movie. It's a movie about these friends just trying to help their friend not be addicted to meth anymore.
Or he goes smoke batu.
Because it happens a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Happens a lot everywhere.
Yeah. Especially small towns. Because it's you don't have anything to do, go smoke meth. Hawaii time to smoke meth.
You know what they say, idle hands are the devil's meth pipe.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's either jerk it or smoke meth. Or
There's
do both at the same time.
There's no in between there. You can mix them, you can do one or the other. There's no in between. You're either jerking the gherkin or you're drinking in the devil's ice.
I think the true way to do it is to have your penis smoke the meth for you.
Okay. Actually, I can see how that works. You just put the little meth crystal in your dick hole, and then you just put the lighter right underneath the crystal, and it just kind of melts into you.
Okay.
That's great imagery right there.
So yeah, that's my idea.
And then the other thing I want to talk about is kind of movie news. Even though this won't be airing for a month, but I want to talk about a couple things. Did you see the trailer for Cats?
No, I didn't. But
Oh my
I've
God.
seen
You've seen screenshots of it?
I saw one
Holy
screenshot.
I have seen so many
Oh
screenshots.
my God, it looks so good.
I mean, I wish.
As in terrible.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited.
Between the Aladdin and the Sonic trailer, trailers that have just god awful looking CGI characters I just find myself so just unimpressed anymore. Even with how awful it is, I'm just oh wow, how could it get any worse? Oh, there they did it.
With Sonic and with Aladdin, it's okay, they have time and it's one character they have to work on. But I'm they can't fix Cats. That's every character.
So they can. They can throw it in the recycle bin and forget it ever happened.
What they do is they just kind of lean into it. They're yeah, it's bad.
But it's supposed to be scary.
I've never watched Cats.
No,
I've
me
heard
neither.
some of the songs. I like the music. It's written. Isn't the music written by the same people who wrote the music for Jesus Christ Superstar?
I do not know. Cats has always been an enigma to me. I'm just like, I don't fucking get it. Why are they cats? But I've never watched it.
Yeah. Anyway, Joe, sorry.
Part of me wants to think that a lot of these movies doing like these kind of ballsier CGI productions of movies, like a lot of the decisions got to be like, this is bad looking, but we're going to generate so much free publicity just from doing our normal shtick, releasing a trailer, releasing a poster, whatever. Just the normal stuff that everyone starts talking about it, memeing on it, spreading it around, whatever. That's going to reach a wider demographic just by virtue of it looking like terrible. I mean, like, I think, when Aladdin first got its trailer release, and every single facet of the internet that I was on was talking about Blue Will Smith.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's crazy just how far it's spread, and it's gotta be, crazy conspiracy man going here. It could have been. Like crazy conspiracy man thinking, it's like, that's gotta be the motive of these things, and that's kind of what I see with Cats. I haven't seen the trailer. I probably should, but I think it's funnier to not have seen it, just seen all the random screenshots of it.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense, because, I mean, all it takes is for one trailer to do that and to, like, get a lot of reception, and for, like, every other movie studio and producer to see that and be like, hey, we make this look, like, extremely bad, and it's, like, a property that has, like, any sort of, like, cult following or anything, like, any small demographic of people that we can make very vocally loud, like, upset about it, that's free promotion for our fucking movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's if it's not already, which it already seems to be, I think it's going to be a strategy that a lot of trailers take in the future. What are you saying, London?
You're wearing a Naruto shirt.
I am wearing, well, to be specific, it's a Kakashi shirt.
I don't know who that is.
Naruto is nowhere to be fucking seen.
I see the name Naruto right there. That's all right there, Naruto.
Yes.
Shippuden.
This is the guy who fucking trained him. One of the several guys who fucking trained him.
I thought that was Sakura.
She is also one of the guys, many guys who trained him.
Oh yeah, and then other movie news, it was Comic-Con yesterday.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and a bunch of Marvel news. So, I hope you're ready for this shit. You ready? Here's one of the big ones. Blade was announced.
Yeah.
With Mahershala Ali.
Oh, okay.
I think he's a pretty alright choice for the role.
Yeah, no, that was actually one of my top picks for Blade. I'm like, yeah, either get Wesley Snipes back and have Del Toro direct.
What is Blade? I'm not familiar with this.
He's a half vampire.
Okay.
And he kills other vampires.
Why didn't they just... I don't know, like, initially, like, or racially, but, like, just get Song Kang-ho as that. He did that in Thirst.
He's black.
That's why I said I didn't know what he was initially, but I'm like, that's Song Kang-ho.
Yeah, throughout, like, the entirety of, like, his comics, too. Like, it's not, like, something they did with,
Ryan
like...
Reynolds was in
Hawkeye.
They had an original trilogy.
Okay.
Del Toro did the first?
Ooh.
I think he did
the
the second one.
He did the second.
Is that the best one of the
The
trilogy?
second is the best one, if I remember.
And the third one
Yeah, because Del Toro is a god.
The third one is not good, but that one has Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, he plays Song Kang.
Yes.
Doctor Strange 2 got an official
nice.
release date, which
I like
the story was alright, but the visuals in that were fucking great.
That's kind of all I want from just a Doctor Strange sequel. Is I want crazy visuals.
And I think Scarlet Witch is going to be one of the main characters in that movie as well.
That is what I also saw.
She was announced as like one of the main cast members.
Interesting.
Of course, we already know Black Widow's coming out next year, May 1st. And then next year in the fall, the first Disney Plus show is coming out, which is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think it's going to be live action. I think that one, if I remember correctly, but don't quote me on that. Then you have The Eternals coming out in November, which we already knew about. That has Angelina Jolie. Kumail Nanjiani is in that as well as Ma Dong-seok, which I'm very excited for.
Whoa, that's a crazy lineup.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people in it. And then Shang-Chi, or Shang-Chi, I'm not sure, comes out February of 2021. Which is cool. It'll be nice to like, whoa, they finally have an Asian superhero.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
You mean to tell me you forgot about Wong from Doctor Strange?
He's not a superhero.
I know, that was the joke.
It'll be nice to have a main hero.
Okay.
And then Scarlet Witch has her own show coming to Disney Plus in 2021. It's called WandaVision.
Yeah, no,
And I'm
I
like,
saw that.
That's a dumb name, unless it like ties the comics somehow. But either way, there's a ton of stupid names in comics.
I think it's finally reached that point with the Marvel Cinematic Universe where I'm gonna start to drop off and
Just wait, I'm not done with all these Disney Plus shows.
yeah, 'cause that's kind of the reason why I'm
Three
like,
more I need to tell you.
it's
about.
like holy shit, how many TV shows am I gonna have to fucking watch just to stay up to date with this shit?
I mean, like the
Well, I
Netflix-
think most of those are supposed to be like you don't
Self-contained.
need to be. Like,
I mean, like
I think it's like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I think they're considered canon, but you don't need to watch it.
that's what I was about to say. It's kind of I would hope it would be done the same way as a lot of the Netflix shows where they are in universe on a technical level, but you don't need to watch them to enjoy the movies, which is probably how I'm going to continue watching the MCU going forward. And might pick up a show here or there, but like
I'll probably be getting Disney Plus just because it's cheap. I hate giving Disney money like that, but it's just like it's good. It's a good product.
It depends on their catalog. Like I know that they're supposed to have like
When
all the
it's cheap. It's like
Simpsons
$7
and a bunch
a month.
yeah.
It's like So we'll see the lineup.
What are the other titles? London?
Doctor Strange is called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That comes out May 2021. Loki has his show. That was like one of the first shows that was announced.
Yeah.
He has that show coming out.
I know that they also announced What If.
Yeah,
show.
What If? That's coming out summer of 2021. Hawkeye has a show in fall of 2021.
I might watch that one.
It's going to be about him raising his kids.
I'd watch it. If it's Jeremy Renner, I'd watch him do anything.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, no, true.
Wait,
Who
hold
are
on.
you thinking?
What is... I feel like a dumbass. I got Hawkeye mixed up with,
War Machine.
not War Machine. Who's Sam Jackson's character?
Fury?
Fury! It's because he's missing an eye.
Oh, God. Yeah, the Hawk took. I'd watch a Nick Fury show.
I would 100% watch
no,
a
I
Nick
probably
Fury
would.
show.
And
Especially...
then Thor 4.
Yes!
Yeah.
Because Akira got delayed. Because it's been having production problems for quite a while, apparently. Even before Taika was tied to it. It's called Thor Love and Thunder. Apparently, they got Natalie Portman back for it.
Yeah, apparently
And
she's going
she's
to play.
playing Lady Thor.
Yep.
So, that'll be interesting.
I'm just excited because it's more Taika Waititi. Taika
Yeah.
Waititi is incredible, and Ragnarok is at the top of, or near the top of my list for the MCU movies. That movie is great, just on a story level, on a comedic level, just because Taika does comedy so well. I'm excited for it.
I don't hate
I'm
it.
just-
I mean, I enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was like a nice little, like, 6 out of 10 movie. I don't know.
And then, those are the ones that have release dates, but they also confirmed that they're working on the Fantastic Four movie for the MCU.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm like, whoa! Are we going to get a good Fantastic Four movie? And then Guardians 3 is, of course, not in production yet because James Gunn is still directing The Suicide Squad. And then he's doing Guardians 3 after that. And then they announced Black Panther 2 and Captain Marvel 2.
I guess in official capacity, because like pretty much right after Black Panther came
they
out, it was
announced
basically
it,
going to be like, yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited for Black Panther 2. My only hope for it is that they get Kendrick Lamar to do the soundtrack again.
Or they get him to play Black Panther's son.
I would also take that. Just
Hi, Dad, it's me, Kendrick Lamar. And then DC, they announced this a while ago, or there were rumors, but they announced it again.
They're doing a animated version of Superman Red Sun,
Oh, nice.
which is a fun storyline. It's where Superman lands in the USSR.
Yeah.
You
I'm aware of it.
You were telling me about it. It
It's
sounds like a
fun.
fun time.
It wasn't amazing or anything, but I enjoyed my time with it. And then Batman Hush comes out. Oh fuck! It might have come out yesterday. The movie version of it. And that's most of the movie news. The Witcher got its trailer.
Oh, did it? I
Series for Netflix. It looks dope. Pretty dope, at least.
Live action?
Yeah. Henry Cavill plays.
Oh, yeah.
Geralt.
I remember seeing it.
I was
Well,
like, when that was announced, I'm like, what the fuck?
I feel like I probably saw the headline for that and then like immediately forgot about it just because I have no real ties to the series.
Isn't that the reason why, or one of the reasons why he stopped being Superman?
It was probably that, and that all the movies he was in were bad, and he probably felt bad.
Oh, yeah. That's not necessarily his fault, though.
No, I'm not saying it is. He has a statue in Jersey,
Oh,
the
nice.
island, because apparently that's where he's from, if
Huh.
I remember correctly. I was listening to a podcast, and somebody's from Jersey there, and there's like a statue of him as Superman. Like, that's kind of dope.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so
The Boyle agenda.
the Boyle agenda. So we watched 2 movies.
Wait a fucking minute. Wait, never mind. Hold that. I forgot you pitched your movie. Never mind.
Jesus Christ, Thomas.
Wait a fucking minute, guys.
All right. So, do you guys want to introduce what the Boyle agenda is, or do you want the Boyle to introduce the Boyle agenda?
So Joe and well, we talked about it in the last podcast as well.
Okay.
Joe
Joe
here is
hasn't
a
seen
pleb. He hasn't seen most pop culture movies.
But you know what? I'm a man of cinema. I've seen the only movie that matters: Elmo and Grouchland.
Most of those. Let's make a combo of those films.
A combo of what?
Serbian film and Elmo and Grouch.
Well, yeah, no,
Elmo and a Serbian film.
I am.
a Serbian Elmo.
I am film scrub lord. There are a lot of movies I have not seen. So London and I have compiled a list, mainly London, of a bunch of movies that I have not seen. I don't have the list in front of me. I can pull it up right now, but I do know one of the highlights is the only Indiana Jones movie I have seen is Crystal Skull.
It's okay,
My
it's the best
opinion,
one.
not the worst Indiana Jones movie.
I liked it as a kid. The ending was kind of weird to me, but
I like it.
I think the ending's pretty on point for Indiana Jones.
Yeah, like,
I didn't really understand people's gripes with it. I'm like, the first one ends with them opening an arc in people's faces.
Yeah,
melting.
I really don't think it's any worse than like any of the other ones. I don't think it's quite as good as Last Crusade or the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Mhm.
I think it.
I need to
fits
rewatch
in
all
very
of
well.
them. So.
But
Temple of Doom is my
other
least favorite.
highlights on the Boyle agenda are Citizen Kane, 12 Angry Men, Dracula, Frankenstein, Breakfast Club, The Goonies.
Which Dracula and which Frankenstein?
The originals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I've seen Son of Frankenstein. So there's that.
You mean Young Frankenstein?
Yeah, that one.
I was going to
The one
say,
with Gene
because Son
Wilder.
of Frankenstein is a sequel
Okay.
to Frankenstein.
Yeah. So I'm
It's
like,
the
I
third-
don't think
It's
Young
the third
Frankenstein.
one, but
Sorry.
that's why I looked over. I'm like, which one? Yeah. Okay.
The one with Gene Wilder.
Yeah, that's Young Frankenstein.
Which that was a good movie. I did enjoy that one. And for this week, I picked 2 movies from it. The movies are The Big Lebowski and Eraserhead. Big Lebowski, I've always been told like I'd probably really like this movie. And I liked it. I like both these movies. And then Eraserhead, I haven't had much experience with David Lynch. I think the only movie prior to me seeing this was Wild at Heart with Nick Cage. Watched that during a Nick Cage
And
night.
Laura Dern, don't leave her out.
Yeah?
And Laura Dern!
Yeah?
From The Last Jedi! That's the only other movie she's been in!
Really?
She's in Jurassic Park.
But yes, she's in The
She's
Last
in
Jedi.
other David Lynch movies, like she's in Blue Velvet. She's in Inland Empire.
I think she's in...
she's in
Inland. I was
Twin
thinking
Peaks.
Lost Highway, but no, she's in Inland Empire.
Yeah, and I just generally wanted to explore what his works were about. I feel like one of his more popular works was probably the best place
It's one
to
of his
start.
early ones, too.
It's his
Is that his first?
It's his first feature film. He had made
Damn.
like student films and stuff before, but this is like For all intents and
He
purposes.
made it for
his
$3 too.
He made it for a
$3.
hamburger and a high five.
So we'll do the same thing we usually do. We'll go with earliest to latest. So
Okay,
we'll
good.
start with...
So I wanted to start off with the Eraserhead.
Yeah, we'll start off with
Oh,
the
man.
Eraserhead.
All right, Joe.
Joe's going to take it away.
Literally.
We'll have Joe talk about it first, and me, then Thomas. How about that?
Sure. That works for me. So,
Joe, I want you to try to explain the plot.
So, we have our boy Henry, played by Jack Nance, and he's kind of got a sad life going on. You know, it looks like he lives in a really shithole apartment, really tiny, really shitty part of town, it looks like, and he's got a girlfriend. His parents, or her parents, I'm sorry, are kind of crazy. She's also pretty crazy. And they have a baby, but it's not a human baby by any stretch of the word human. And
it's a regular human baby.
It's kind of about the trials and tribulations of Henry trying to deal with all of this mess in his life. If I'm being 100% honest, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I could only maybe guess at what the movie maybe have just thought of, like, in terms of just what it's about, because I can't seem to glean anything real from the movie outside of, like, this is just a depressing story about a shitty man thrown in this wacky circumstance with this not human baby. I really liked the baby design. I thought it was really creepy, and that was, like, it was really creepy, and, like, after the movie had finished, I had stepped away from my computer to go, from my computer to go take care of something. And I was thinking, like, that's a movie that genuinely scared me and, like, filled me with a lot of dread. I don't get that often whenever I watch horror.
Oh, you're gonna love David Lynch. He's really good at, like, kind of tapping into that just, like, subconscious, like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, no, like, holy shit. We're gonna talk spoilers about the movie?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're jumping into spoilers.
So, the cut where Henry takes the thermometer and checks the baby's temperature, pulls it out, looks at it, smash cut to the baby being sick. That actually got a genuine scare out of me.
Yeah, because the music ramps up, it's just like...
Perfect segue. I need to look up who did the sound design for it.
You did.
Yeah, David Lynch.
Holy shit. Like, the constant drone of the entire movie. There was not a single quiet moment in the movie. There were quieter moments.
Yeah.
But there is this constant drone going on in the background, be it actual music production or just, like, kind of ambient sound. Like, you know, the scene where he's walking just through this back alley, and there's just a lot of just background noise of the city. It added so much feel to it. Like, you could really feel like this world, it felt collapsing. It felt covering. Like, the entire world is just trying to suffocate Henry. Mm-hmm. And this kind of just shithole life he is in. And I thought that was brilliant. Every part of the sound design was fantastic. And it blew me away.
Yeah, the sound design is, like, one of the things that's, like, high. I mean, this entire film is very highly regarded for multiple reasons, but that is, like, one of the big ones that people talk about.
Yeah, but, like, and it's weird, like, I was thinking about this, I'm like, what was I expecting when I was going to watch Eraserhead? And I couldn't give you an answer, apart from, like, really dumb joke answers, like, oh, Eraserhead, his head kind of looks like an eraser, he's gonna erase people with his hair.
What do you think of the title? Like, what do you think the title means?
Well, kind of like losing yourself in your own head. If I had to guess, like, honestly, the movie feels very, very lucid. Like, just a lot of the cuts, like, even though the movie takes place in, like, 3 major settings, because there's Henry's apartment, there's his girlfriend's apartment, and then there's, like, this scene where he's just walking through the street. That's really the only settings that come to mind. I might be wrong on that.
The stage.
The stage.
There's
yep,
a few more.
Yep.
There's, like, the stage. There's the, like, little hotel lobby that
yep,
he goes to.
Yep.
The pencil factory.
Yeah.
The pencil factory, yep. Yep.
I don't know. I think Eraserhead really just means eraser, because his head got turned into an eraser.
That's true. Which, as soon as
I
that,
fucking love.
as soon as that happened, I'm like, there it is.
Yep.
I'm
there
gonna
it is.
jump in real quick and say that I found absolutely no dread in the film. I think the film's really funny. Like, I was not creeped out by anything in the film. The baby, I just think is funny looking.
No, I can agree with that.
Like, the scene where it jumps to it being sick, I just laughed out loud. Like, I love the movie, but I just thought it was really funny.
No, that's fair. Although, like, there is the set designers probably had a lot of fun with Henry's apartment, just with all, like, the clutter everywhere. And also, the first thing I noticed when we got into Henry's apartment was the fucking plant on his nightstand without the pot in it.
Fun fact. The production designer for this movie went on to work for Brian De Palma in Carrie,
Nice.
Okay.
Phantom of the Paradise, and then
Ooh.
years later, he was also involved in a little movie. You might have heard of it.
Star-Lord.
There Will Be Blood.
What's that?
It's a little Paul Thomas Anderson.
Who's that?
He's a director.
What's that?
He directed
Fuck you.
Boogie Nights.
Whoa, Boogle Nights!
Bogle Nights, yeah, but no, like, even for, like, majority of the movie taking place in Henry's apartment, there's just a lot of just smaller details about it. Like, honestly, like, the whole plant not in the pot thing, like, that's funny from a weird, abstract point of view, but also, like, it kind of just sells, like, just, Henry doesn't care about a lot of things in his life. A lot of these things, like, even, like, the, like, clutter, like, with all, like, the twigs and stuff, and, like, that just, to me, that screams, like, hardcore depression. That he just doesn't care about his surroundings and his willingness to clean up after that. Like, I don't know, I really like the movie, and the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, this movie was really fucking good.
Yeah, no. I absolutely love this movie, too. This is, like, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah. London?
I really love, Henry's cadence. The way he speaks, his little accent. It's just so enthralling. Also, like, one of my favorite things about, like, the cinematography is, actually just how the light bounces off his hair. And it runs through the top of his head. I'm like, beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah. It's real nice looking.
Let's see, let me go to my notes here. Did he say the whole plot? I wasn't really listening.
I think they hit all the major notes, at least.
Yeah. I mean... Yeah, basically. I mean, the plot is very bare bones. Basically, Harry
Has kid.
has kid,
Wife abandoned.
sleeps with lady repulsed by baby, kills baby, and then...
I forgot to mention he killed baby.
And then he,
Kind of just dies?
Yeah, I'll explain my personal, most recent interpretation of the film once we get to me, but... and I'll definitely dive into probably all over the fucking film, because I love this movie.
Oh yeah, and then after you talk about there are a few other things I want to touch on that I just looked through my notes that I forgot to talk about.
Yeah, of course.
Alright, but still doing a little reading there?
yeah, I'm just on my notes.
Okay.
Just on my little notes here.
Gotcha. Give you a bit more time.
No,
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed pretty much all aspects of it. Honestly, once we talk about the ending, I kind of wish it ended a different place. A little bit.
Where do you wish...
I kind of wish it ended with him being turned into an eraser.
Oh.
Like, I love that scene, and I'm like, what if they just ended it right there?
There is, when so with my relationship with this movie, I had known about it years before I actually watched it. Like, cause, I think Lee Hardcastle is his name. There's a YouTuber who does, like, the stop motion movies in 60 seconds. He did one with, like, Evil Dead. He did, like, an Evil Dead 2 with cats. He did The Thing with cats. And he did one for Eraserhead that wasn't cats. But, and I'm pretty sure the way that he ended that little one is it literally just ends with, like, the animator, like, holding out a pencil and, like, Henry's head, the little stop motion version just, and like landing on the eraser, and he looks, he's like, huh? And it's like, that's how that video ended.
Incredible.
But through there, I went on, and when I was like 12, I loved the song in this movie. I still do the "In Heaven Everything Is Fine." Like,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a
so
great
good.
song.
Mhm.
Love it. It needs to be like sampled on like a hip hop track or something.
Like Kanye.
Oh god, that'd be
I don't know.
amazing.
I mean, I'm sure Kanye would pull it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the chicken scene beginning of the movie?
Yeah.
The chicken scene.
Yeah.
When he's cutting the chicken?
Yeah.
And then it
That's
just
a great
the
scene.
man-made chickens.
yeah.
That was a funny scene.
Yes.
That was
Do I
funny-
just cut it up like
Yeah.
a regular chicken?
It's like
Like a
it's wiggling, it's bleeding.
Yeah. The mom's just. It's just like
And then like the daughter comes out and she's like sobbing uncontrollably.
The dad's just
and the dad's
smiling.
just like this, and I'm just like this.
that was there were like so many just weird moments that I'm like, this is such a kooky
And I'm just
family.
Sometimes I'm just like, what if I was David Lynch?
I love like David Lynch's like energy is like I don't think I've ever seen a director who has just such a weird atmosphere.
I watched this movie on my phone
Yeah.
just to really stick it to David Lynch.
He does not.
He
like the
said that
idea.
like
Oh.
watching things on like phones isn't really watching.
Yeah, he doesn't consider it the true cinematic
And I'm like,
experience.
shut the fuck
Which-
up.
To each their own. If someone wants to watch a movie on their phone, they're
Go for it.
Well,
right
okay,
to
what
do
about
so.
this? You're looking at a TV, right? You have a phone this close to your face. You have earphones in. It's the same distance. You're seeing the same amount of screen.
Yeah.
I'm just like, come on!
True enough. Yeah, no, like, it's funny you bring up the chicken scene, because, like, right before that, I just have an entry in my notes that's just, look at my knees!
Yeah. People seem to think that pipes just grow in these houses. Well, they don't! Look at my knees!
That line made me laugh so much. And the fucking, like, there was the mom in the kitchen mixing the salad, right?
Yeah, and she
She just fucking plops
has
it
the
in front of
catatonic grandmother.
Yeah, she just like grabs it in her hands and just has her mix it up. I'm like, why don't you just mix it yourself? But I'm like, I see you. It's weird.
There's this scene much, much later after he has sex with his neighbor, and he sees her going back with her new boyfriend, and then it like cuts back to his face, but it's replaced with the baby's face, and it's like, whoa!
Yeah.
Like, perfect.
The ending of the movie just got really fucking crazy, and I loved
His head
it.
falls off, it's replaced with the baby's head, his head falls into his own pool of blood, and it just kind of vanishes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, perfect. I get you, Lynch. I get it.
Yeah. And also, like, the scene where he, like, cuts open, like, the bandages on the baby. I don't know what I was expecting.
Yeah, he's like, cut it open, and then it's just like, oh,
And-
yes,
And then
the bandages were the body.
Yeah. And then, like, fucking
Just like a real baby.
as he's cutting up the bandages, baby's like,
Yes.
she's fucking
And then
dying.
he stabs the baby, and it's like, ooh, what if I was made of fucking sponges?
A comment on that stab scene, something that like gets me every time. And like Jack Nance's performance in that scene is like spot on. Because I think if I was to like stab a baby's lung, the reaction he has where he just like immediately like backs up and is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like I think I would have like a similar kind of reaction.
No,
if I was to, like,
let's stab a baby, and we'll see.
yeah, I guess let's find out.
Well, I got this perfect orphan child here for you.
Oh, hey, get over here! Come here! Die! Your downstairs neighbors are just like, what the fuck is going on?
So, Thomas, I'm very curious on your takes of the movie, just because you like it a lot. And when I was looking through my list, I saw Eraserhead. I'm like, I know how much Thomas loves Eraserhead, and I'm very curious on his take, because I guarantee
Yeah,
he's
he
going
wants
to
to
think it
fuck
was a
Jack
weird,
Nance.
weird experience.
If he wasn't dead, I totally would.
When did he die? A while ago?
90s, I think?
What happened? Why did he die? He could have just not.
I want to say he
Too much
got
weed.
into like a bar fight or something.
No.
Jack Nance.
He was kind of a crazy guy, from what I hear. David Lynch has a documentary that he made completely about Jack Nance's life because they were very close friends.
Okay.
Jack Nance is in Twin Peaks.
Okay.
Once you get around to watching that, the original series, not the return, because he was obviously dead at that point. But
whoa! You mean they didn't put a dead guy in a new take on an old property?
Well, there were lots of actors who died in between the second and the third season, and they incorporate some characters from actors who have died, through just either having a different character play them through voice acting, or whether they take some unused footage and kind of it's weird. You'd have to see it, and I don't want to just straight up be oh yeah, this is what they do with this character.
Okay, well, and I do plan on watching it at some point. But Eraserhead, I'm curious on your thoughts.
Before I dive into my interpretations on the film, did London have anything else you wanted to say, or did you kind of get it all out?
I'll probably say some stuff after.
Okay. So this film, I personally think, has, down to its core, it's about a man who obviously isn't ready to be a father.
Where'd you get that from?
Gee, I wonder. It's the film has a very grounded plot, and it's very dream-like. Because David Lynch has very dream-like quality to pretty much the majority of his works.
And his hair.
A lot of his later stuff is a lot more grounded in reality, but it still has that dream logic to it, and will lean into it. It's very much David Lynch's style.
Okay.
And I think this film has a lot to do with, I just had the idea because I was kind of watching it. I'm what if Henry is suicidal the entire movie? And it kind of almost makes sense. I only watched it through the once, so I didn't go through the film and see if I had all the contextual evidence and see if there was anything that contradicted it necessarily. But this is a film made for interpretation, so technically I'm not wrong. Eat shit, commenters. No, I'm just kidding. But because the film begins with that shot and he's above the world, and it's just kind of his head, and it kind of gives you the idea that he's obviously not in line with the world. He's not grounded. He seems a little lost, and that scene obviously also indicates the conception of the kid, obviously, because a little sperm flies out of his mouth and drops into the puddle.
Yep.
And yeah, basically, you see him, he gets home, it looks like he lives a pretty pathetic life, lives in this small little rundown apartment like you were saying.
I thought his apartment was kind of nice. Looked cozy.
Yeah. Takes off one of his socks and just sets it on a radiator and just kind of blanks out for a minute.
I was
I related to that moment really hard.
I'm I kind of wish I had a radiator.
Yeah.
I was that seems cozy.
And then, obviously, because the girl hasn't been around for a few weeks, he's just kind of lost. He ripped up her picture, obviously, because he puts it back together later.
Yep.
And then he, the neighbor tells him, hey, girl, stop by. I forget the girl's name.
Fork.
Yeah, Fork. Yeah, you hate
Sarah.
I think it was Sarah.
I think so.
Yeah.
She's just listed as a beautiful girl across the hall.
No, not the girl across the hall. The girlfriend.
Sarah? Mary.
Yeah, that's what
I said.
Yes. Smary.
Smary. Smara.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my favorite fucking flavor. Thank you. He threw a gummy yeah. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Just fucking pelted him with gummy worms.
Goes over, meets Mary's parents. Very awkward.
Look at my knees.
Yeah, look at my knees! The mother tries fucking, making out with him.
You're so you fucked my daughter. You gonna fuck me?
I'd fuck me.
Yeah, but,
Have you seen that movie?
No.
Oh, is that on the Boyle agenda?
Goes home, obviously. There's like that one scene where he like is on the bed and he smiles because maybe for once he's like, hey, maybe this won't be so bad. But quickly,
It got bad.
it gets bad. Oh god, one of my favorite fucking scenes in the movie is where the wife like first leaves. And
Oh, yeah.
she tries to scoot the bed towards the baby, but she's just kind of there and she's just awkwardly just like tugging on the bed.
And Henry just looks at her like, what are you doing?
And it goes on for a little bit longer than it needs to, which adds to the comedic element of it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, oh, yes. Get used to that with David Lynch. He likes to meander on things a little longer than they should. Like
I like the meandering on that scene a lot.
Twin Peaks The Return has, like, I shit you not, a 9-minute scene of a guy sweeping a floor.
That's incredible.
It's awesome. I love it.
That's incredible.
Yet, you don't like the
Yes,
pie
a ghost
scene
story.
from a ghost story.
See, I like the things surrounding the sweeping scene in Twin Peaks. I don't like anything about a ghost story.
Well,
So,
I guess you can be wrong sometimes.
or I could be right. Who knows? It's almost like film is subjective.
That's not true. It's subjective that Avengers Endgame is the best movie ever made because it's the highest grossing movie ever made. Oh yeah, that passed Avatar today.
Yep.
Or yesterday.
Oh, nice. It was bound to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Now maybe they'll cancel the 8 Avatar sequels.
No, it's gonna be a constant battle between the next Avengers and the next Avatar.
The next Avatar is not going to sell that well. In comparison
That's what
to
they
those
said
two.
to Avatar 1.
I think, I don't know if it'll be like, quite like Avengers level, but I think Avatar 2 will
Avatar's gonna make a
Be
lot of
pretty big, just simply because of the anticipation.
easy billion.
Now, once they get to Avatar 3, that's where I think it's
it
gonna
just
start
depends.
to-
Like if Avatar 2's like a good movie, it depends how like good the visuals are.
True, because that was the huge thing about the first one is the visuals. For
And
it.
James Cameron has said like, "Yeah, I've been waiting for the next step in
Every time I think I'm
technology."
out of gummy worms, I find another one on my
You need
porch.
some more?
No, I'm good.
I'm a good.
Continuing with your thoughts on Eraserhead.
But, yeah, and the lady in the radiator, I think, is obviously a symbol for death. And
With
You
the little,
mean the one-
with the one
With the big
scrotums.
The sponge face.
The scrotums on her,
yes,
on her
because
cheeks.
you can see that she's like,
Are you saying you don't actually think there's a lady living in his radiator?
that's what I'm saying.
I like to take everything in this movie literally.
Well, there's your first mistake.
Or-
you just said film is subjective.
Not this one. As I say it.
Not this time.
Arguably one of the most subjective films to ever be made. Fucking... But yeah, she's got like... You can tell that she's got like a cute kind of like bubbly face under there, but the cheeks are really fucking distracting.
Oh yeah,
And that's
I always stared at them whenever she was on.
And
screen.
that's kind of like my personal idea of death. Like, part of it seems like really enticing. It's just
It's
like...
some lady with some fucking weird looking cheeks.
Yeah, well, part of it seems really enticing because it's just like everything ends. But part of it's also really scary because it's like everything you've ever known. And like the lady, she's, cute, but also kind of unnerving. And you're just like, what the fuck? And she's saying like, in heaven everything's fine.
Oh, that's actually a good connection to like her being the personification of death. I like that.
And of course, at the ending of the film when he kills the baby, and he's suddenly in the light and he can finally... Because there's that scene where he like first sees her and she's kind of giving him a hand. She's like reaching her hand out to him and he like puts it lightly against his face. It gets the flash of light and he's like, what the fuck? And she's like, and then like disappears. And then finally at the end when he gets to embrace death instead of just kind of romanticizing with it. And I think, yes, London.
No, when you're done with your thought, I do have something to add.
And I think that the death...
I'm just raising my hand.
I also think that they imply, like... I don't know how to, like, word this quite correctly. This is all just jumbled out of my brain that I'm trying to spit out into the mic.
I feel like that's a good way to describe how to talk about the movie. It's like, I'm just gonna jumble words together, but it's gonna make some sense.
Funny is we've had a couple movies like that now. Like
that's
World
just
of
me.
Conoco just because of the way the movies like structured.
Well, this movie's got like a grounded plot. Like there's a through line. Like,
yeah.
This movie, like I think most people like hear of Eraserhead and think like, oh my god, this film is just gonna be like up in the air and it's gonna make no fucking sense. Things are just gonna happen, and they do. Like things that don't make any fucking sense happen, but there is a plot through it. Like you see that he's a guy who becomes a father and goes through the struggle of fatherhood. And David Lynch, 10 years before the movie was made, I think like 1968, but he had an unexpected child with disabilities, and
he stabbed her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he stabbed her. No, he didn't really stab her. Although, fun fact, never mind, I won't share that fun fact, because it kind of spoils Twin Peaks, and I take it back.
Okay.
Okay. You want me to add my thing?
Yeah, add your thing.
I do agree that I also think that the film's, like, a lot of it is about, like, suicidal thoughts and, like, about him being suicidal. But I don't really see the lady as a personification of death.
I've also, she's commonly, from what I've seen just from a lot of people consider her, like, a personification of hope as well.
I think it's mostly just... I think a lot of the film just deals with boredom, if I'm going to be completely honest. Because he's stuck in this room with this baby. Like, he can't leave. Like, that time he tries to leave.
Yeah,
as soon as he opens the door, it's just like... As soon as he opens the door, he shuts it, it stops.
Yep.
So I think that, like... And I think it goes back to that scene where he just kind of, like, stares at his sock on the radiator. I think that a lot of it is just his imagination running wild as he tries to, like, cope with these situations, and he can't go anywhere. So it's just slowly, like... I think that I could see it as she being the personification of death, but it's only in his mind. Like he's
I think
making
the
her
entire
up because of
movie's in
that.
his mind.
No, yeah, I do too.
I think the entire movie's a dream.
I wanted to kind of bring that up because of the dreamlike quality. There was definitely the thought after the movie finished. I'm like, I wonder how much of this was actually real. Like, I wonder how much of this was someone dreaming something up.
I think that the grounded stuff are, like, the hard facts that you can, like, take away and you can be like, alright, Henry's a dude who's asleep and this is what's going on in his life, but, like, everything in the film is just some, like, jumbled up, like, dream interpretation.
And, like, the thing that kind of sparked that thought was, like, so they picked the baby up from the hospital, I think they said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're like,
who the fuck thinks that's a human child?
Also, the doctors didn't. There's that line where the mother first announces that she's like, "There's a baby." She's like, "They don't even know if it's a baby yet," and she's like,
true.
"It's premature, but it's a baby."
Also, that's one thing that I like about the film. I like to think of it as, because so much of the movie's in his mind, I think the baby's just a regular baby. And like, it's a regular baby. Like, it looks regular, too. And this is in his mind. He's personifying all his worst fears, that it makes him look like this alien thing.
That's how I see most babies anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel about them in
So
general.
I think that, like...
I think they're gross, vile, disgusting creatures.
Even, like, because, like, the lady across the hall, like, she didn't really freak out. She was just like, fuck, baby.
Yeah.
And I think that it was just, like, a regular baby that he murdered.
And, the thing about kind of tying it back to my suicide point, and also the baby, with, like, how it keeps, like, popping up out of his body. Because when you have a kid, your life is that kid. Like, and that lady, obviously, like, she looks at him and she sees, like, oh, that's the guy with the baby. You know, and...
it's the baby guy!
Yeah, basically, like, I think it's just meant to, like, represent just the idea of... yeah, like, I don't know how to, like, word this elegantly at all, but, basically, like, yeah, once you have a kid, that becomes your life, your identity. You, like, are that kid, essentially. Not literally, but, like...
Yeah.
In a sentence.
90% of your life is focused on taking care of and raising this kid. And I think that like weighs into like the whole like suicide thing, because he can't really kill himself. His wife obviously doesn't really want the baby, seeing as she's never fucking there. And, you know, I think he, like, this suicide thing is, like, my most recent interpretation. Every time I watch this movie, I, like, get a new idea for what the scenes are. I'm like, oh, this could mean this, this could mean this, this could mean this. Mm-hmm. Like, that's why I love this movie so much. Every time I watch it, it's like watching a new movie.
I like to think that he killed the baby and then he, like, killed himself right after.
Yeah, that's basically
that final scene of, like, the stage and his head falling off and stuff. That's all just, like, in his mind in his final, like, stages of death kind of thing. Like, he's just hallucinating one final time before he fucking dies.
Sure. So, the things I wanted to add in were kind of concerning the dialogue in this movie. Because there are some goofy lines, but, like, the first line of dialogue wasn't spoken until 10 minutes into the movie. Because as soon as the first line was spoken, which I think was his neighbor.
Oh, yeah, the first 6 minutes that are just, like, different shots, like...
Well, it's different shots, it's establishing kind of Henry just where he is. But
those
it wasn't
are some
until...
of my favorite parts of the movie.
Oh, no, that part was incredible, but, like, it just kind of took me surprised. Oh, he's aiming up the shot for the gummy worm. Oh! That made... Oh, yeah, that was good. Yeah, no, it was about 10 minutes in. But, like, a lot of the movie is, like... What?
Like, none of them made it onto me. They just pelted off.
That's great.
I like to imagine these are the worms from Eraserhead.
There you go. I actually thought the worm in a box was... I joked that it was shriveled up foreskin. I thought
That's why he's so suicidal.
There you go.
Foreskin.
But, like, a lot of the movie just is very dialogue light. And you're just kind of there just sitting in these scenes and just taking it all in. And I really like that. And, like, the moments with the word dialogue, there was, like, this kind of awkward, clumsy feeling to it.
The script for this movie, I believe, was only 20 pages long.
Yeah, I can buy that.
And typical screenplay rules is page a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So
script should only be 5 seconds.
It's true. And then you just stretch the rest out during production.
Yeah.
Well,
everything should be improvised.
Everything. It was like, what kind of shot you want this to be? I don't know.
Also, I can't... Oh, I think this is... So there was a claymation part of the movie. I'm just kind of looking at my notes. After I made a note, I'm like, damn, they put claymation in this movie. That's pretty cool. I really liked that scene. I thought
David Lynch was very into stop motion before he made this movie.
I really liked that portion. I think it broke everything up in a nice way.
I have the Criterion release of this, and on the special features, they have a bunch of his short films that he made like before Eraserhead, and a lot of them... Because he didn't start off wanting to be a filmmaker. He started off as like a painter, and then eventually he's like, I'm going to experiment and make some paintings that like move, and he like basically just
he's like, wait, that's a movie.
Little animated movies, and then eventually started like kind of splicing it with live action, and then eventually got to Eraserhead.
Yeah, but no, like right after I put that note in, there's just an entry that says, "This looks like Thomas." I don't know exactly what that refers to or why I put that in my notes, but yeah, there was a part of the movie that I'm like, that's Thomas. It obviously didn't look like you, I think. I think I was just being dumb when I wrote that note.
In what part?
It was right after the claymation. I couldn't tell you exactly what this... There's literally no other context to it. It's between the claymation portion and when the baby comes out of Henry's body. It's between those two moments in the movie. Those are like the only like time markers I have for where the movie is. I put that note in.
I hope it wasn't the guy who was going in with the neighbor.
That might have been it. I don't know. I think that might have been it.
God damn it, Joe! Why am I always being compared to unattractive people?
He has a pencil stash. That's kind of
He also had like a giant fucking like burn or birthmark on his face. Something. He had something.
Yeah. That might have been it. That's like the closest thing I can probably relate to. I don't know. I was probably thinking like, that would be funny to put in my notes and bring up on the podcast. And here I am doing that. But no, a really fucking good movie.
Yeah. Does anyone have anything else to add?
I mean, I'm sure if we were to keep talking, I could probably think of more stuff, but currently I do not have
Okay.
anything else.
What
to
did
add.
you give the movie, Joe?
I believe I gave the movie. Give me 1 second, double check my score.
Thomas, what did you give the movie?
Fucking 10.
10.
I love this movie.
I gave it an 8.
Joe gave it an 8, and I gave it a 9. So, average is a 9.
Yeah.
Pretty epic.
Pretty.
All right. The next film is by the Coen Brothers. Came out in 90.
Yeah, it came out in 99. Takes place in 91.
Takes place in 91. It's about the dude. It's called The Big Lebowski.
It's a big
It's called The
allegory
Big
for
Alejandro
the Gulf
Jodorowsky.
War.
No, it's not. It's about Between the Lions, the PBS Kids show. All right, Joe. So have you seen any of the other Coen Brothers films? You've seen a couple, right?
I believe I've seen a couple.
Probably seen. Oh, did you watch the Nick Cage
Ballad?
one
Should have.
with me?
I should have.
Did you watch The Ballad of Buster Scruggs?
Nope.
Me neither.
It's good. It's very good.
Yeah, I need to watch it still. I
Really
need to watch like 90% of their movies because
I've
I
seen-
feel like I've seen like their core essential movies, but I still feel like I haven't seen like the majority of their movies.
I've seen 39% of them, apparently.
I've seen
how many-
4%.
Yeah.
Raising Arizona is the Nick Cage one, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe I have seen that. I have not seen Raising Arizona.
Here are the ones. I'm going to go through the ones I've seen real quick.
Okay.
I've seen No Country for Old Men,
Haven't seen that.
The Big Lebowski,
I've seen that.
Inside Llewyn Davis, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Hail Caesar, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou,
Yeah.
Burn After Reading, Raising Arizona, The Man Who Wasn't There. Those are the ones I've seen. The other ones that they've made are
Fargo,
Yep.
Fargo,
Blood Simple,
True Grit, Blood Simple,
True Grit,
Serious Man, Barton Fink, Miller's Crossing,
The Man.
the Hudsucker Proxy,
Oh God, what? It's not The Man Who Knew Too Much. What's that one that has Billy Bob Thornton in it?
Man Who Wasn't There.
Oh,
that I would watch that.
Oh, okay.
The Lady Killers and Intolerable Cruelty. And then they also did a shortened Paris Jatame. So if you don't count that, then actually there's a couple on here that aren't out or maybe will never be out. So I've seen about half of the movies they made.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I saw the Coen Brothers name on screen. That like I guess I haven't seen many of their movies or any at all, but I do remember. You
You haven't seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
No.
Oh, add it to the agenda.
Yeah, like the whole point of this podcast is that I haven't seen any movies. But here we are. We're
of constant sorrow. I seen trouble on my days. He's in trouble.
God, that movie is...
I bid farewell. All right.
So, The Big Lebowski. I actually very much enjoyed this movie. I liked it a lot.
With Jeffrey Bridge.
With Jeffrey Bridges, with John Goodman, and
John Turturro.
and Stevie Buscemi.
Buscemi.
Again, this was kind of a movie, like, I kind of knew the premise that the dude was just, like, he liked bowling, he liked White Russians, and he was just generally a lazy dude. That was about all I had going into it, apart from Jeff Bridges. I didn't know if Steve Buscemi was in it, I didn't know John Goodman was in it.
John Goodman is in a lot of
Coen Brothers
movies.
Well, that's good, because I do enjoy John Goodman quite a bit.
And Jeff Bridges in a couple of them.
Okay.
John Turturro's in a couple of them also. He's the main character
Yeah.
in Oh Brother. He's the main character in Barton Fink, I think. I think it's him and John Goodman.
He's Jesus in this, if you didn't know who he was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
Jesus the Bowler.
So, the plot for it is the dude, played by Jeff Bridges, is just kind of minding his own business, and a couple of these loan sharks break into his house and piss on his rug. Which
Really tied the room together.
really tied the room together. I really liked, there's a lot of the comedy portions of it that I'm like, okay, these are good, like, you know, like, joke a minute gag type things. But then there were moments where they took the jokes a little bit further and I think added a lot to it. Like, at the beginning of the movie, where those guys pee on his rug, and the dude just goes, yeah, of course you peed on my rug. It's not like your house broken or anything.
Yeah, no, they
Or he
call
says
him a
something to
loser,
that
and he's like, at least I'm housebroken. And
Yeah,
there's
I'm
like the scene where they're like, where's the money, Lebowski?
Well,
It's
at
down
least
there somewhere.
Yeah.
Let me
Oh,
take
yeah.
another look.
Oh, yeah, no, like, there's just a lot of those, like, comedic moments where, like, yeah, what's happening is funny, but then they take the joke just, like, one step further, but it never felt like it overstepped its boundaries.
She
But
cut off her toe. She thought she was getting $1 million. This not fair. Not fair? Who's the fucking nihilists here? Like, I fucking love
damn.
this movie.
John Goodman's character as Walter, like,
Oh.
was really, really infuriating, but I also just found it really, really funny.
Yeah.
There's a lot, like, and, like, poor Steve Buscemi.
It's Shabbos. I shouldn't even be answering the phone. Unless it's an emergency. It is an emergency. Yeah, that's why I'm answering the phone.
So the lone, going back to the plot, the loan sharks are hunting for Lebowski, which is apparently this
Jeff Lebowski.
Jeff Lebowski, the Big Lebowski, as he is known. Apparently his wife Bunny owes these people a lot of money. She owes money to a lot of people around the town, and it's
So, Jim Sterling, is that the name of the guy that she owes money to? He shows up later in the movie. He's the guy who
Yeah.
ends up like drugging.
I think. Oh
Yeah.
no. It's something Thorne, I think. But I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that's who she owes money to. I love that scene.
Jackie Treehorn.
Jackie Treehorn, that's what it was.
Jackie Treehorn.
Yeah.
What the fuck is Jim
Oh,
Sterling?
yeah, Julianne Moore's in this movie.
Yep.
Yeah, she does a good job.
This is,
Vagina.
Vagina.
This movie is what I like to call a peak white person movie.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like, you talk to a lot of people and that are white, they'll go, this is my favorite movie.
Well, it's a good movie.
I don't...
There's nothing wrong with that, but
Yeah.
it's like, yep, this is white culture. No.
It very much is like
This
going
movie
into
is
pop culture of us.
inspired a movement. Like, so
One of
many
my
people
good
became the Big Lebowski after this movie.
One of
one
my
of
good
which...
friends is like favorite movie of this.
Yeah, my old roommate, Garrett, loves this movie, and he embraced the personality, like, full on. He got the bathrobe, he had the sunglasses, he had his hair long. If he could grow a beard, I can guarantee he would have. He
That's
drank
not
White
a
Russians
good
all the
thing.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't to the point where he's like, I'm unemployed, but when he was like...
missed the point. No.
Yeah, like, I understand, like, the appeal to the lifestyle, but also, like, the dude isn't, like, innocent in all of this. He's kind of a piece of shit sometimes.
People miss the point of a lot of movies a lot of time. They miss the point of Fight Club all the time.
It's a movie that encourages you to go out and start a fight club with your friends.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
It's fine. Beat people up.
It's funny.
One of the early funny things that was never really touched on, but I noticed immediately, is that the dude doesn't bowl with socks on.
Yeah.
And that struck me as both disgusting and hilarious. Also, the milk he bought earlier, like at the beginning of the movie, where the narrators,
The half and half.
the half and half, where they were introducing the dude, was 69 cents.
Yeah, that scene has a lot of significance in the movie.
It does, yeah.
Because this film is, like I said earlier, it's an allegory for the Gulf War. And I'm not going to dive deep into it. I'm not a fucking Gulf War expert. There's a video. Okay, let me pull out my Gulf War. There's a video called, like, The Gulf War Abides on YouTube. I highly recommend, like, anyone listening, go check that out. He will explain a lot of the connections between the movie and story much better than I ever could. But, like, there's all sorts of, like, little nuances. Like, he writes, the film takes place in the year 1990 because you
90
see...
or 91.
Yeah, well, it starts at 90 because you see that speech from George H.W. Bush, which apparently aired on the news, like, in the year 90. And he's writing that check for 69 cents for, like, a year ahead of time. That way, you know, hopefully they don't notice that he, like, marked it up a year and it takes a year for the check to bounce for 69 cents.
Yeah.
And the date that he writes on that check is exactly a decade before 9/11. This movie has, because it comments a lot on the Gulf War, which is basically like the predecessor to the Iraq War and 9/11 and all that. It has a lot of like connections to 9/11 that are just like really just like, oh, they got like, there's a nice little kind of line there.
How'd they do that?
What a coincidence.
Jeff Bridges did 9/11.
Is that what they imply in the video?
No, that's not what
That's what they imply in the movie.
At the very end of the movie, they were talking about like Little Lebowski's, like where he's talking about like kind of meant to indicate the future generations.
Yeah,
and
Sam Elliott's like,
and it's like, oh, you think the Gulf War is bad with H.W. Bush? Wait until the Little Lebowski comes in a few years and starts the actual like full-on Iraq War.
Yeah,
but it's just like a parallel. It's not, obviously it wasn't commentary on that exact situation at the time, since it hadn't fucking happened yet.
They predicted it. They knew.
I mean, they had a general idea that future generations tend to make the same,
decision.
if not worse, mistakes than the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one seems to study fucking history at all.
What's that?
Doesn't matter.
History's for suckers.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to go into like all the specific examples, but one that I think is really interesting, because I was watching it today, The Big Lebowski, or I guess it was yesterday at this point. And I was like, really good movie, but one of the things that had piqued my curiosity is I'm like, they don't devote a lot of time to the Gulf War stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like, there's that line at the very beginning.
In the background kind of thing.
Yeah, and then there's like that scene where it shows like Saddam, and he's like, handing the shoes. And apparently what that is like Saddam's name. If you emphasize the Dom in his name, it means like the enlightened one. But over here, when they would like talk about him on like the news and stuff,
Good old Sam.
Exactly. They would emphasize the first part of his name. And apparently that's like a slang term over there for shoe shiner. And it was kind of meant to like, you know, obviously be kind of a fucking jerk at him. Yeah.
And shiners are cool though, so.
Got him. Speaking of like shoe shiners, like that whole like dream sequence, I really liked that entire sequence. You know, like the transitions into it. The fucking bowling pin hats, those were fantastic. I loved those.
Fun fact, the scene where Jeff Bridges is like, obviously, like going under and like looking at all the dresses.
That was really fun.
I remember watching an interview with, I think it was on Conan, but he was talking about like that day on set. And his wife and kid were there for that specific scene.
Do you want to describe the scene a little more?
Yeah, there's
in case somebody hasn't watched the movie.
Oh yeah,
there's a scene where it's like a dream sequence, and there's a scene where he basically is thrown like a bowling ball, and he's like going underneath all these women with their like legs just open and down like the fucking bowling lane, and he's like on his belly at first, but then he kind of gets this look on his face, and he flips over onto his back, and he looks at all their underwear. Obviously, they were wearing, like, slips and shit underneath, but...
Yeah.
No, it's just their bare pussy.
Bare puss.
Whoa! But, yeah, so I highly recommend watching that video. Go out.
It's funny, like, I can't really, like, draw, like, a lot of thoughts on the movie just because it's very, very straightforward in what it's doing.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of just great moments, like, I'm looking through, like, I just have, like, I ain't seen London. Like, I just have that in my notes for some reason. Probably because of London right here.
Because of London.
Because of London right here. And, like, the pronunciation the narrator did for Los Angeles irritated me.
Yeah.
That irritated
City of
me.
Angels.
I thought it was funny, but it also just irritated
There's
me.
so many people that pronounce it like that.
I'm saying that it irritates me. Also, like, the movie,
Wow.
the segment where he's, like, laying on his floor, I think right before, what's her name smacks him in the face. He's just listening to a tape deck of like ASMR bowling pin sounds.
Yeah.
I
But I
don't
thought it
think
was.
we ever finished telling what the movie's about.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't think we did. We got
it's,
completely sidetracked.
Yeah.
So,
It's a new
Thomas, go
movie.
through the plot. Go.
All right. Well, Jeff Bridges gets his rug peed on. He plans on just because he's got a very fuck it attitude, doesn't really care about anything. But his friend Walter kind of gets him going and goes, "Well, why don't you go and talk to the other Jeff Lebowski and have him buy you a new rug? Because that rug really fucking tied the room together."
It really
He's like-
tied the room.
He's like, "You know what? Yeah." So he goes over to the Big Lebowski, the real Jeff Lebowski, or the one who's not the dude.
Says, "Hey, Philip Seymour Hoffman, you're not dead
Oh,
yet."
God. Every time I think of Philip Seymour Hoffman, I think of the scene where fucking Bunny is like, "I'll suck your cock for $1,000," and he just does that, like, just like, like laugh.
And she's like, "But he can't watch. He has to pay $100 for that."
Yeah.
He's like, "Ugh."
That part really got me. I really liked that.
I don't think he'd like that very much over there. It's okay. He's a nihilist. But it sounds exhausting.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, but
Before you
basi-
sidetrack.
Basically, he meets Philip Seymour Hoffman, the dude, or
The
not
Big
the
Lebowski.
dude, the Big Lebowski and Bunny, and the Big Lebowski basically tells him to fuck off. He's not responsible for his rug, and he leaves the room. And he's basically, "Yeah, a guy told me to take any rug in the place." Takes a rug. That rug had significance, really popular in Middle Eastern culture. But anyway, that ties back into that video that I watched. But yeah, so he takes the rug, which eventually leads to the Big Lebowski's daughter coming, punching him in the face, like you said, taking the rug from him. And then all this is going on. Bunny is supposedly kidnapped. And
Big Lebowski.
Big
wants
Lebowski
Jeff
wants
Bridges to
Jeff
hunt her
Bridges.
down.
Yeah, to be the guy who delivers the ransom money.
Yeah.
And he fucks it up, obviously.
He
'cause-
fucks it up and kind of discovers
Walter fucks it up.
Walter fucks up a lot.
Yeah, but he fucks
fucks
it
up
up
by
by
letting
bringing
Walter,
Walter.
Yeah.
He should have known better. Walter fucks everything up.
Walter really does fuck everything up, and it ends up like the dude discovers this giant conspiracy-ish, but wasn't really a conspiracy because Bunny was never kidnapped. She just left. And the Big Lebowski saw this as an opportunity to embezzle money from his charity that he had formed.
Yes, because he actually, you find out later in the film, isn't rich. His daughter gives him, like, an allowance and gives him, like, he gets a certain amount of money for the charity. And he basically wanted to make it look like Jeff Bridges fucked up and lost all that money while he kept it.
You mean, wait, no, we had a ringer. No, we had the ringer for the ringer.
Yeah. And all this
And he
is
just wants his rug.
He just
yeah,
wanted
he
his
just
rug
wants
back.
his fucking
It's
rug back.
The
in
very
the
the basic thing is that he's just like he just wanted a rug and he got caught up in this like giant conspiracy.
and he never gets a new fucking rug.
Never gets rug. The room is loose. It is not
Steve
tied
Buscemi
together.
dies.
Yeah, Steve.
Fucking Steve Buscemi, dude. Like, I feel for you.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Like, that was funny, but also I'm like, man, poor Steve Buscemi in this role. It's
Yeah.
like, he just gets told to shut the fuck up, and then he has a heart attack and dies, and they, like, fail to spread his ashes properly.
That's what happened with my buddy's dad. That exact thing.
Yep. Yeah.
We went to a beach and we tried to spread his ashes, and the wind caught and it went on my legs.
Nice.
And I'm like, sweet. I
We
have
actually
your ashes.
watched that movie with that friend, and I immediately told him about that. He's like,
You're like, hey, look, it's your dad.
he was like, yeah, that's what happened. He just kind of laughed with it. No, it's a fantastic movie. I really liked it. I feel like this is a movie, if I had watched it earlier in my life, it would probably be one of my all-time favorites. It felt very similar to like how I feel about like Spaceballs and Monty Python and the Holy Grail, movies that I have seen too many times since I was a kid and are very ingrained into what I perceive as comedy. kind of thing. And I definitely view it as, in that way had I watched that movie earlier on. Now I'm like, it's a damn good movie. It made me laugh a lot. It had a lot of very memorable moments, and I see why people loved it a lot.
Yeah. This movie's great. It's just, it's got a nice, like, little noir through line, but it's kind of about nothing at the same time as, being an allegory for the Gulf War. Because that's what I like about this movie, because I found that out today, and I was like, whoa, so much fucking, like, context and new, like, interpretation for the movie. But on top of that, like, I never needed that before, because it works as a film. You don't need to know jack shit about the Gulf War.
It's like how Oh Brother Where Art Thou is like a good movie on its
own,
but
it's the Odyssey.
It's the Odyssey. Also, have you ever heard the story about how they've never read the Odyssey? Which is funny because, like, most people would say that Oh Brother Where Art Thou is one of the most faithful recreations of the Odyssey in a lot of ways. Like,
I don't watch a lot of Odyssey adaptations.
Most of them aren't good. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And they've never read it. They only, like, know the story through, like, other context. And I think I don't blame them.
The Odyssey is a fucking...
but also, like, you can know the story, like, pretty easily from growing up. Like, I know most of the story of the Odyssey from the Simpsons episode.
Yeah. The Odyssey is a fucking heapful. Like, that is one dense book, and it's all, like, fucking, like, Greek translated poems, so it's just, like, you read shit, and... I read it in high school, so it's been a fucking while, and I barely knew what the fuck I was reading. I had to, like, use SparkNotes for most of it. I'm sure I'd probably have a easier time reading it now, that I'm watched a lot more, like, abstract things, and I can handle more abstract ideas now. But
sorry, I cut off your thoughts on the movie.
It's fine. What was I saying about the movie?
You were just talking about
how it's good on its own, and it's
Big
good
Lebowski.
and interesting. This new content that you found.
And it's just full of, like, just lots of, like, really, like, you could just cut this movie up into, like, individual scenes. And there's so many just funny moments. There's, like, the bit where they drop the weasel in the bathtub.
Fuck! They just dunk a weasel in there. God damn it. Yeah, they did that.
Ugh. That scene's fucking hilarious. What else? There's, like, the bit where, his car is stolen, and they find the homework, and they go, and they interrogate Larry.
This poor kid, and Walter's so hung up on him. And then, like, the dude's like, it's not happening. And then she's like, yeah, no, it's this kid. He's got the money.
Yeah.
They fucking smash up the nice-looking car that ends up being the neighbor's.
Yeah.
Which, as soon as he started doing that, I'm like, it's not his. This car doesn't belong to them. But even still, like, it was still pretty good. It was a good moment.
This movie's just fucking hilarious. I love it. It's a pretty, like, well-written, like, noir movie, even though it doesn't really, like, have a big like, it kind of just fizzles out with the noir, but that's right around, like, the end point of the film anyway.
And then Sam Elliott just kind of does a weird monologue.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm a nobody bow.
He's like, didn't like seeing Donnie go. And it just completely, like, shatters
everything.
Ugh. This movie's great. I fucking love this movie.
You haven't talked about the film all too much, London? Or
I talked about it a bit. My final thoughts are that I used to really love this movie. On a rewatch, I thought it was still pretty good. I definitely, it's probably one of my... I love the Coen... From all the movies that I've seen by the Coen Brothers, I've, like, really, really enjoyed, like, almost all of them.
Mm.
But this is probably one of my least favorites. Like, I still really enjoyed it. But it's probably on the lower bracket. Which is funny, the other one that's, like, one of the lower brackets is Raising Arizona with Nick Cage. I thought that was really good, but not nearly as good as some of their other works.
Those are two of my favorites.
Got them. But I really enjoyed both of them. I just, like... I don't know, some of the dialogue is just a little... Some of the jokes feel a little too long-winded. I thought Walter as a character was good and, like, infuriating in the right degrees, but also I think it lended a little too much screen time to him at points. And, like, I thought Donnie was just kind of there, like a throwaway character.
That video that I'm talking about talks...
He's the Gulf.
Well, no. The comparison that they make is like, that Walter's like the extremist right, and then...
Donnie's the centrist.
The dude... No, Donnie's not the centrist. There's like the extreme right, there's the really liberal side from, like, the dude, and then Donnie stands for, like, the majority of people who, like, have no idea on, like, what's going on. They don't, like, study the facts. They don't do anything. That he's out of his element, and whenever they do try to enter, like, be like, hey, excuse me, I have this idea on this thing, and, like, normally
one side tells him to shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up! And then, when shit goes down due to these, like, two, the people who get fucked are the people who had no say and no idea what was even going on.
Yeah. Which I can also get, but the same
But
time.
yeah, if without the context of, like,
even
that.
like with the context, it should still work in the
Every
movie.
shirt he wears has a different name on it, by the way.
Huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still really enjoyed the movie. Fun fact, John Turturro's been working on a sequel for a while. Or a spin-off. About his character.
I heard that. I don't like that idea on paper, and I probably won't like the execution if I had to guess. But
yeah, but I don't know if he's directed other films.
Yeah, I don't know if he
like,
has.
I'm open to a new movie. I'm just like, that's a weird choice, but
yeah, Big Lebowski is one of those movies where it's like, yeah, I don't think this movie ever needs any sort of sequel. But
also, I really hate how much it's quoted. Like, people say "shut the fuck up, Donnie" so much.
I mean, if they say, like, out of context shit like that, I could see it, like...
That's all my high school life was. Actually, that's all my life is. People just saying quotes out of context. Just because they think it's cool. I'm like,
But if they got Big Lebowski's got some relatable quotes. If they can work one in there organically.
Yeah, but they never do. Well, no one ever works in quotes organically. There's like, you ever seen a Shrek?
Layers! Ogres have layers! So like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're talking about the Big Lebowski here, Jeff. What the fuck? I don't know. I'm tired.
Joe, what'd you give the film?
Gave it a 9.
Thomas, what'd you give the film?
Probably like an 8, maybe a 7.
I gave it a 7. So if Thomas gave it an 8, it's an 8. If he gave it a 7, it's not. So we'll say it's about an 8.
Yeah.
All right. We did it, team. We finished the first Boyle agenda. Woo! Say goodbye to Joe, everybody. No.
They're going to take me out back and shoot me in the head.
Yeah. He'll be back in 7 years, though, or whenever we decide to do another Boyle agenda. Probably in like a month.
Probably never. You guys are never going to have me on again. You told me that this is a one and done thing because I'm not able to make the payments, right?
Well, yeah, next time.
Because I had to pay to be here.
Yeah, just next time bring us $50.
Or oral sex.
For who? I don't want it.
I'm giving Thomas fuck me eyes right now.
Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Alright, what's your classic pick?
I'm gonna go with the Alejandro Jodorowsky film.
I was just this entire last week.
Do you know which one I'm picking?
No, but this entire last week I'm like, I want to watch another one of his movies. Okay. So I'm excited.
I was thinking about Santa Sangre, but I've seen that one, so I'm picking the one I haven't seen, like that's out of the big 3 that he's done, which is El Topo.
Oh, good. That's the one I would have most liked.
Where he's a cowboy.
I don't remember what your answer was. What do you prefer, art or honesty?
How fucking. In this context, we'll go with art.
Okay, my modern choice is Art and Craft, I think is the film.
Art and Craft?
Art and Craft. It might be Arts and Craft. I don't know. It's from 2014. It's a documentary.
Is it dumb?
No, I mean a little bit, but not like the
Art
movie.
and
Just kind of what
Craft.
happens in the movie.
Have you seen this before?
Yes,
What the fuck? Why are we watching something you've seen?
because it's good.
That's dumb.
You're dumb.
Art and Craft, okay.
I watched it in like high school, and I want to watch it again.
So, let's check real quick where you can see these films if you are watching at home. Art and Craft is available on, apparently it's on IMDb TV. It's also on Canopy if you have it. Canopy is a free streaming service if you have a library card or you are a student at a college. It might have a good selection, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on your library, but you should sign up because it's free. Also, Hoopla, same deal. Some libraries that have Canopy, some have Hoopla. So whichever you have, you should check it out because they're free and they're dope. And then, or you can always buy it, or you can, go to the local store and steal it. Just kidding, don't do that. Let's see.
You can go the tortilla route.
And then El Topo is not available for streaming anywhere. So good luck. Find it, watch it, live it, love it. Alejandro Jodorowsky. Anyway, my name's London.
I'm Thomas.
I'm guest star Egg.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to tell your grandma. And, yeah. Bye.
Adios.
Deuces!